Hi everyone, welcome to Trimester 1 2019 of the Data Driven Decision Making Unit. I really hope you enjoy this unit. Des is an excellent teacher and I think you'll get a lot out of it, but as always it's what you put in it that you get out of it. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about one of the features that comes with the text. So you'll see when you open up your textbook that you're given a unique code, and this code gives you access to Connect, McGraw-Hill Connect, and the features such as Learn Smart and the Smart Book. I just want to take you through those features. So what you need to do is click on connect.mheducation.com, and with your particular course, the website is then, if I show you here, /class/DDDM_1_2019. So once you click on that website, connect.mheducation.com/class/DDM_1_2019, it'll take you to this website. I'll just pop it on student view so you can see that. And so what the book offers is three main things. So first you've got the ebook. This is excellent. If you don't want to purchase the hard copy, purchase the ebook. It's a lot cheaper, but obviously you can't bring it into the exam in an open book exam. But it's very good in terms of having a soft copy. And even if you do have the hard copy, it's very good for when you're traveling, not to have to cart that around. So it has that feature. It has Learn Smart, which is a self-study option that I'll talk about in a moment. And it has additional student resources. What these are the textbook PowerPoint slides that come with each chapter, a glossary of terms, which can be very useful for your study for the exam and so on. And then also all the data sets that are discussed throughout the textbook and used to analyse the data. So they're in that section. But most importantly, and what I think is most exciting about the book, is this Learn Smart feature. So it's just loading here. So just to let you know, we adopted Connect through McGraw-Hill because of a lot of feedback from our MBA students. What they told us is that they wanted a self-study mode that really tailored to their own learning. And so that's what Learn Smart does. So it actually looks at the questions that you're good at, and it gives you fewer of those, and looks at other questions that you need more help with, and then provides you more questions in that area. So it really tailors to your learning needs. So here we are here in the Smart Book. We have table of contents, notes and underlines, and reports. So let me go through those. So you've got table of contents, and here we've got the 12 chapters of the textbook. And so for each chapter we can self-study. So if I click on this mode here, you can see there's a read option here. And often when you open it for the first time, it appears on the read option, which can be really confusing for students because they look through and say, well, that's great, it just looks exactly like the ebook. What am I meant to do with that? And the good feature of this is that it does have the option where you can highlight and so on, and then you can go to your highlights and search for your highlights, and you can make notes and things like that. So this is a very good feature. But what I think is very helpful as well is if you click on practice, see this button down here, it actually allows you to practice that chapter. And so this is chapter 1, and you have 15 items. And you get a question. Some of them are multiple choice. Some of them you have to write an answer. Some of them you have to give multiple answers. So you have a question, and you also have to give your level of confidence. And by doing this, the algorithm within, behind the scenes here gets to know you. And a bit like Netflix, it gives you questions that you need more of and fewer that you don't know. In Netflix, referring to movies, not multiple choice questions. And so that really helps to tailor to your learning here. And it also has this section where if you completely don't know, don't want to guess, you can go read about this, and it will refer to that section of the textbook relevant for that question. So I think that's a very useful feature too. But if we have a look here and we do a few questions, you'll get the idea of how it works. So here it says, data that is collected by recording a characteristic of a subject over several time periods is referred to as cross-sectional data, correlational data, time series data, or non-parametric. So when you read your textbook, these terms won't seem as strange as they may do now. And when you read that, collected by recording characteristics of subjects over several time periods, you'll realise that it's time series data. So I can click that, and because I've read my textbook and I know all about it, I can click that and say, I know it. So my level of confidence is very high. and it's saying the answer is correct. So what that is telling the algorithm is that you know it, but you're also confident in knowing it. And so the book will give you fewer of these sorts of questions. And we click OK. Now you'll see the items have gone down to 14. If we'd got that one incorrect, it would still be at 15, because you'll get another question like that question further down, you know, throughout the multi-choice questions, to make sure that you really understand that area. So you can understand that it's not just simply 15 multi-choice questions, get them right, get them wrong. It's actually tailored into what you need to focus on and learn a little bit more. So now this is a different type of question. Here we need to write a word answer in the box. It says the study of statistics is a method of extracting something from a data set. So with these questions, I just have to put the disclaimer on it that you do have to be careful. You have to get the exact wording here to get it correct. And you have to have the right spelling. So you can't use American spelling, you need to use English spelling. So if you're not sure about this, you would click on here, read about this, get a better idea maybe through reading some of these areas here, maybe focusing on the highlights and going back and answering that question. But if you've done that, you probably would click here just to let the computer know that you weren't so sure. But I'm going to put information, I'm going to spell it correctly, and then click think so. Not 100% sure, but think so. And see, it says your answer is correct, so that's great. Okay, so going on to the next one. You can see this is a different type of question. Again, it's saying check all that apply. So which of the following would most likely be characterized as a sample? So here you're thinking sample versus population and so on. And so you need to tick those. But what we can do is, so we'll figure it out. So an owner of a block house inspects all of the units in the block to determine their condition. So that's really the population. A bank surveys all of its employees, that's the population. The Environmental Protection Authority takes a litre of water, yep, that's a sample. An internet poll receives this many responses. That could also be considered a sample of the population. So we know it's probably those two. But let's tick this one and then just say unsure. Why don't we say no idea? And so then it tells you, sorry, your answer is incorrect. This will be defined as a population. And then it's saying these two are samples, being subset of the population. And so you can see we had 13 items when we attempted that question. And when we click OK, we still have 13 items. So we will get another question to do with sampling further down the track until we absolutely know it. So there's no point skimming through all these and just clicking anything, because you'll end up, if you get them all wrong, staying on 13 items. So it's important to go through these and carefully answer the questions. Anyway, so just a last one again, fill in the blank. A variable that is described verbally rather than numerically is called a what variable? So qualitative variable, go think so, and it says okay and so on. But again, you can still read about that if you're not sure. Okay, and so then you go through and answer all the questions for those ones. So I'm not going to do that. But if we just go back here, so we've seen table of contents with all the chapters, notes and underlines, which we can actually have a look at all the notes for those if we want to see what we've done, the notes we've made in our book. But then what we can look at also is reports. So reports is very helpful for understanding our progress in the textbook. So we can look at our current learning status. And we can see, look, we've 100% completed chapter 1, 25% chapter 3, and so on. Look at the time needed and everything. So that's, I think, some very useful information. And we can look at our top scores. So here we've got, for the first chapter, 15 out of 15, great. Third chapter, not so great, and so on. And any of the missed questions. If we've missed any, we can have a look at what they were, and so on. And then we can look at our most challenging learning outcomes and revisit those. And this I think is really useful. So Are you aware that you knew the answer 53% of the time? You knew the answer. You were conscious that you knew the answer. That you didn't know the answer 25% of the times, and you knew you didn't know it. And unaware that you knew the answer 10% and so on. So that can give you an idea of your confidence level versus your skill level. Next, you've got your tree of knowledge. My tree is a bit small because I haven't done a lot of questions here, but you build up this tree of knowledge and it has branches and all the different topics and so on. So that's kind of a nice motivation tool. And just lastly, there's a practice quiz. So when you've done all the chapters and you might want to do a final refresh for the exam, you can select whichever chapters you want to focus on and start the quiz. So you can see there are 300 questions there, 384 with those chapters. So there are plenty of questions to keep you motivated. So I hope that really helps with your understanding of Connect. And just to finish off, I hope you do connect with Connect. It's a really powerful tool. Thank you.